deal with bodily fluids, besides maybe a baby spit up every once in a while. But I will say I'm very much the black sheep of my family when it comes to healthcare. My older brother's a medical doctor, my mom's an RN, my sister's an RN, my grandma was an RN, so...
I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Right, so when it comes to those conversations, we just don't have them.
Right? Some families avoid politics, y'all avoid talking medical.
Anything healthcare, we don't talk. We're not going to talk vaccines, we're not going to talk COVID, we're not going to talk anything.
Man, I would love to be a fly on the wall there, that would be great.
For sure. But when I was playing basketball in college, I had my first chiropractic adjustment during warm-ups of one of my basketball games, and I had a really debilitating headache. And as you can imagine, being raised in a traditional healthcare family, it was, oh, take ibuprofen, oh, take Tylenol, you've got growing pains, take that ibuprofen, whatever. So my roommate at the time, her dad was a chiropractor, got adjusted by him during warm-ups in the gym, and within 30-45 seconds my headache kind of just flushed out of my system, and I was immediately enamored by that. It was just like, all this time I thought I have to take a pill, whatever, to help my body feel better.
Basically, you thought what you had was permanent and you had to cover it up.
Yeah. So, go down that rabbit hole watching all the YouTube and Instagram videos of chiropractors, doing their thing. Ended up working at that chiropractic office, was an office manager, and in the time there, I just was mind blown to see people come into that space in pain. When people are in pain, they're not the nicest people in the world.
Right.
So people in bad moods, they would go back, see the doc and get adjusted and leave like a completely different person. So that's when I really was like, okay, this is something I think I can do and see myself doing. So within about a year of working for a chiropractor, I applied to chiropractic school and knew that it was what I wanted to do.
So tell everybody what your practice name is, where you're at.
So our office is called Cadence Chiropractic, and my business partner, Bailey, and I co-own the practice.
She's here.
Yes.
She's here.
In the audience, live. But I really believe that I was called to do what I do, and I think that's a huge piece of why people get great results in our practice. I'm not just a doctor that I just want to get you on the table, get you out of the office, because it's a transactional experience. It's very much, I actually care about people and want to help them in their health.
That's pretty important, I would say.
Yeah, it's a big piece of it for sure.
Well, and that's a piece that's missing from modern medical doctor.
I would agree with that, yeah. So we really wanted to, with the name Cadence, it was kind of like, let's bring together my gifts with helping people heal the body. And Bailey is very musically talented, so obviously cadence is a musical term for rhythm. So our whole concept is really like helping the body get back to the normal rhythms that it was created to experience.
I was about to say, do you have any like sound therapy that you add in there? Or?
So we don't in office, but I will say there's a lot of really incredible chiropractic techniques out there that include acoustic therapy and different things like that. And you were talking really nerdy neurology stuff a little bit ago. But just what the brain and the nervous system is capable of is amazing, especially introducing different types of natural therapies, whether it be chiropractic, whether it be massage, herbals, all the things.
Ooh, and when you combine them all strategically, it's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably be in a wheelchair today if I did not. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've had, my back completely destroyed, my knee, my face, my shoulder, like everything.
Military will do that too.
Yeah. My hips, I had like hip dysplasia and all this crazy stuff. So like, I mean, still I can't like, do anything too crazy. Like even when I like sleep on the ground or something like that, my hips get jacked up and I
like to say there's limitations of matter. So
yeah,
patients will come to us with stage 4 arthritic change in their spine, looking for a Hail Mary. I can't reverse that, but we can absolutely help manage that. So in situations like that, like once the body is to a certain place,
I would say
that's when interventions like a surgery, like medications, injections, whatever, there's a time and a place for that. But doing what we do helps manage that stuff really, really well.
I have a differing opinion. So I believe that any degenerative disease, modern medical practice doesn't have a place.
Yeah.
I would say that only acute and major surgeries that they do have a place.
Emergency.
Yeah, emergency, acute or major surgeries. That's basically it, where it ends for me.
Yeah.
And I still think that they can change a lot of what they do, like introducing herbal methods or more natural methods, rather than using intravenous. Maybe use solutions like DMSO, like they used to use back in 1950 before it became illegal because the FDA didn't like what it did for people.
It was helping people.
Yeah, so they still use it on horses to put medicine into people's bodies.
Yeah.
But why would you have to stick a needle in somebody when you can just rub it on their skin and it goes to their body faster than anything intravenously? So different things like that, and you can even introduce different pain medications or anything like that with DMSO, and it'll penetrate, right? So there's all sorts of different methods that I think that could be used. They just don't want to use it for particular reasons. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I've seen this stuff firsthand.
I can see it work.
I worked with a general surgeon. He was a general surgeon for over 20 years, and he was actually, his name was Dr. Gaston, or is Dr. Gaston. I don't know where he's at nowadays. I think he's out of the country. But I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams, where he fights the hospital for natural therapies and stuff like that. Well, that was based off a true story, and it was about him, Dr. Gaston. He fought Quincy Hospital, got won in court against them because they were corrupt and they were trying to keep people sick, right? Just crazy
Sounds
story.
familiar.
Yeah, sounds like every other hospital out there. But I won't go too far. But it's hard to find quality over quantity these days. That was Sarah. That's what she just said. Yes, that's true.
That was our sister.
Yeah, she's on there.
Yeah.
Just for the record, I am practicing what I preach in a sense that my 9-year-old son and my wife are
Under our care.
under your care.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I will be eventually, but I don't want to take up cigarette in my house. But yeah, I need to get in there. I already know I need to get in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I also need free time.
I will say it's the same old story. It's very, very common for us to see mom and kids of a family, and they'll say over and over again, like, I'm telling hubby he needs to come in. And there's eventually that straw that breaks the camel's back, so to speak.
Literally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And dad will drag himself in the office and see really incredible results.
Yeah, and see with me it's not it's which I know a lot of guys are like, it doesn't work.
That stubbornness, for sure.
And me it's more of, I have no doubt that it works.
Which is great.
Yeah, I would love to get in there, but first and foremost, the wife and the kid, they gotta be taken care of. Secondly, I've gotta find some time.
Right.
So, one thing, chiropractors, they always have the craziest hours. Sorry, but it's true.
I agree with you, and I fight hard for those crazy hours.
I'm like, what in the world is
But
going
that is your
on?
privilege,
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you're open from like 8 to 9, and then you're off for an hour, and then you're open from like 12 to 1.
It's very true.
And then you're like, what?
It's very
How do
true.
I do that? I can't get in there. I go to family chiropractic in Pelham.
Okay, yeah.
And so I've been going there for forever. I gotta come check out your place. It's right down the street from my
And I
house.
will tell you too,
So.
as long as people are under chiropractic care, I'm fine with that. We have people very frequently in the office, they see great changes in their health and they're like, hey, my daughter lives in Manhattan. Can you find a good chiropractor for her there? So to me, it's a matter of pushing chiropractic forward
Yeah,
than
for sure.
filling our
Which I'm
space.
excited that it's come a lot further in like the mainstream eyes,
Yeah.
right? Because like even in the army when I was getting out, they actually issued me a chiropractor,
Yeah.
which is just wild, right?
I'm honestly very surprised to hear that.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty messed up. So.
The first office that I launched was in Phoenix City, Alabama, so near Fort Benning.
Yeah.
So I took care of a lot of active duty, retired, disabled vets, all the things. And I was very, very taken aback by how poorly our military guys and gals are taken care of.
Yeah.
So I'm very surprised to hear that, honestly, that they
poorly in a sense where they just like load you up with a bunch of medication and send you home or give you surgery or whatnot. They don't try to like actually heal you.
fix the problem.
Yeah, which really
Wow.
sucks. Yeah, it happens a lot. But yeah, that's why I kind of took my health into my own hands, and I've spent probably $100,000 to $150,000 of my own money, like figuring out what works and what doesn't.
Diving into what works for you.
Yeah, in the health field.
So
And-
I'll be honest. I have an issue with kidney stones because there is a certain genetic alteration in our family that can be handed down where we have a problem processing protein.
Yep. Do you
First,
also struggle with this?
he does
Brother
not.
Matt?
He does not. I was the lucky one.
So blessed.
Yeah. So
I've had one kidney stone, and that was, I pretty much know why. It's just got to get my crap and just went down a really bad path.
So
we know when we do it to ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
he wants us to add 100 points to it. But
starting over.
yeah. So the first time I had them, I didn't know what it was. Had no idea. I just had a very sharp pain, very, very, very bad pain.
It started as back pain?
Yep, started as back pain, and might get a little graphic. I'm gonna try to be easy with it. I didn't know, I was sitting on the commode and I didn't know what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to vomit or defecate. I didn't know. It was
intense.
Extreme pain. I was at work at the time. My manager,
Toasty nuts.
yeah, she's on Toasty Nuts.
Yeah, I'll take a full one. Thank you.
And my manager at the time, like, she was like, "What is wrong?" I don't know. I couldn't stand still. I was walking back and forth. I was going to the restroom. Nothing was
There's no
happening.
comfortable position.
There was nothing. So she's like, "Okay, cool. Y'all got the shot. I'm taking him to the hospital. He's dying. I'm taking him. He's gonna die." And I'm thinking, this is how it ends. She's on her way. And I'm like, faster, 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 faster. And I'm just.
What are we talking about here?
Yes, I mean, you know, I didn't know at the time, but it needed to happen quicker than it was.
Yeah.
So we get there, finally get to the hospital in the ER, and they're like, "What is wrong?" I'm like, "That's why I'm here. That's why I'm gonna pay you. You figure it out. It hurts." We get back there, and to ease the pain, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna give you some morphine." And you know, morphine's a rather large needle. And
Not my jam.
yeah, they you don't want to look at this. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I was in so much pain. I watched them jab it in, and I was like, so I had that kidney stone. Found out it was a kidney stone. Cool. All right. Went to the hospital. Passed the kidney stone. Did all the whole modern medicine thing. Had another kidney stone. Knew what it was. Knew the pain.
Very familiar with it.
Yeah. Once you've had one, you know exactly what it is. At the time, I was married to my ex-wife, and I said it's gonna be a long night. Go to bed. I got a 12-pack of Bud Light, and I started drinking. Knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
One of two things is gonna happen. It's gonna hurt, and I'm gonna pee a lot, or it's not gonna hurt, I'm gonna pee a lot, but I'm gonna pass this kidney stone. So it's been a recurring instance. There was only one other time I went to the hospital because of a kidney stone, and this was another instance where I didn't know what was going on. I was urinating blood. It just so happened I had an 8 millimeter kidney stone.
That's big.
Yeah, that wouldn't pass through my urethra. They had to break it up, Since then, I've probably had about 7 or 8 instances where I've passed kidney stones, not just one, typically multiple. But just to give you an idea of what I think about modern medicine is, I can handle it. I've got this. And what y'all were talking about with surgery, you know, yes, in my eyes, yeah, that's important. There are instances where something happens, you know, an accident, a stabbing, gunshot wound, crazy break, you don't know, you know, you gotta repair the finger. Yeah, surgeons are great. But as for, I've got a call for me to go to the doctor and they're gonna hand me this or that, and, hey, try this, and 2 weeks later, that's not working, doctor. Let me give you this.
I'd like to add that, but we also have a couple of questions. But, I was gonna say, but it still can be done differently because, like, even in Japan, they use acupuncture and stuff like that to block nerves and everything, to do open heart surgery on somebody while they're still awake. You know, they do like all sorts of really cool things that I think would be way better than anesthesia or, you know, stuff with other side effects or possible death.
My perspective too is that medicine saves lives, but it doesn't restore health.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's the big disconnect is so many of us behave our way into these health issues with poor lifestyle choices, you know, no body movement, bad nutritional things. And then we want to like medicate ourselves or surgery ourselves out of those problems.
Right.
Well, and I would go as far as to say that if the same amount of money was put into herbalism, that medicine would also save lives.
I would agree with you completely.
Faster, quicker, more efficiently than most pharmaceuticals.
Absolutely.
But we have some questions, and then I've got a question.
Yes.
But first from Sarah, our sister, she said, "Can I ask why chiropractor considered conventional?" Or wait, can I ask why is chiropractor considered conventional and not traditional medical treatment? So I think she said, like, why is it an alternative versus like traditional?
That's a good question. Something that I share with people frequently is chiropractors are actually considered portal of entry for primary care physicians. So we're very much so trained to diagnose. Like if you came to me with the symptoms that you have with your kidney stone, I would have known you've got a kidney stone. Let's refer you to whoever we need to do that with, whatever. But I think that's why chiropractic is considered more alternative, is because we don't prescribe medications. Our plan of attack is that outside-in approach, and that's obviously just not traditional, conventional medicine at all. It's very, very different.
Because you don't administer pharmaceuticals.
Right.
I mean,
I would want to.
Yeah. But I would say that's what determines whether or not it's modern medical practice or not. Yeah. Anything other than an MD, a medical doctor, or somebody that can administer pharmaceuticals, even psychiatrists and stuff nowadays they can administer pharmaceuticals, which is nuts to me. You know, like that's just wild. But she says that in the USA, CIH, or conventional integrated health, aka chiropractor, meditation, qigong, out-of-pocket expenses spent was over $38 billion in a year. So a lot of people are spending the money towards it, probably because they recognize the benefit of it, right? I did. I spent a lot of money in it and a lot of money towards it. At one time, I didn't eat for 45 days. And then right after that, I harvested my own food from the wild for 45 days.
What an interesting life you lived.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was in Germany, so
You worked in for a little bit.
For a long time, yeah. Yes, yeah. And then, that was a part of my health journey, though, was cleansing myself, just getting rid of all the crap. Like, they shot me up with 7 shots of anthrax when I was in Iraq, right? And then later on told us it was experimental, right? And so, that stuff I wanted to get out of my body, right? So I had to do something extreme. and you don't just get that stuff out, you know. But I did want to ask you something. I don't want you to lose money, but this is something that I found really
That's a
awesome.
weird way.
It's like, wait a minute, the partner over there is like, hey,
Yeah.
just hold up.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think about this because I found it to be extremely helpful, like in between adjustments. Okay, go get adjusted, get everything right and everything, but this helps it stay longer, or at least help me till I get to my next adjustment. Right, not have as many issues. And that's inversion therapy. I know you've heard of it. Super awesome. It's helped me decompress and untorque my spine because I had 2 compressed discs, but my spine was torqued, and that elongation hanging from my ankles
Created that space.
Yeah, created that space, and then the fluid just sucked back up, right? Which was really awesome. But without the chiropractic and the massage and all that, because I was doing chiropractic every other week, massage every week, and then doing the inversion therapy plus all the herbs and everything. Yeah, so just like constant for 2 years, I think. So didn't miss a beat, but well, I did because I was in the hospital for a little while. Yeah, but yeah, that was the part where I was like, okay, yeah, because they had to put a titanium plate in my face, but that's another story.
Casual, yeah.
But
another meat talk.
yeah, right.
Actually, probably one we need to have. We haven't had it yet.
My perspective on inversion therapy, I think it's great, and I will say the chiropractic office that I shared, where my chiropractic journey started, working there, we had decompression in that office.
Yeah, that was my next question, is if you have that.
So it's definitely one of the absolute best things that you can do with disc issues. It depends on what the disc issue is. So I'm a big advocate for it. My concern typically is because I have patients that have disc problems, so I'll encourage them, hey, like you can get a inversion table on Amazon for $140, and that can be something very fruitful for your healing journey. But it can also be very harmful if it's done
incorrectly.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta know what
in
you're doing.
moderation.
Yeah, you gotta like start off slow, because when you go like just that much back, you're like, what the crap is going on? But when you're like that, if you don't have that thing set right, you're just like, feet.
So it can honestly cause more harm than it can help. Most of the muscles, the ligaments in the spine are there for stability. And so if you do something like do an inversion table, you've never done it before and you immediately put yourself at a 90-degree angle, you're going to cause some problems.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
especially if you're older.
Yes.
Like younger folks, it's probably not that big of a deal.
But it still can be depending on if the person has ligament instability. There's so many factors there.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big advocate for it, especially for people that have disc issues.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be done well.
Yeah.
And used in moderation.
Yeah.
Like most things.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like me.
Yeah. Like mead. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say, just same with working out, proper form, those sort of things are really, really important. I can't read this word. She asked this. I can try to read it, but I wouldn't know.
Yes, we do treat dysautonomia.
Dysautonomia, okay.
I will say.
I'm glad I was going to say it right, but I didn't want to mess it up.
That's fair. We see it so commonly, and honestly, I think that a lot of human beings struggle with dysautonomia. So you mentioned the central nervous system, and that's really what we're impacting when we make adjustments. And when the central nervous system isn't doing what it's supposed to do, it is basically like in chaos and confused. And then it shows up as this laundry list of random symptoms that you can't categorize into like one specific.
Like fibromyalgia?
Yes, exactly. So one of those catch-all type of diagnoses. But the neurological scans that we use in our office do a really, really good job of showing the depth at which the nervous system is impacted by the stress and the trauma that we experience through our life. And it's so easy, like a patient will do their health history with them, and we'll see their story, so like their health history and all of the crap that they've experienced in their life, so perfectly connect with what I'm seeing on their neurological scans. And in so many cases, and we're seeing it happen younger and younger, getting into that pediatric category, we're seeing that dysautonomia. So it's basically like a neurological shutdown or like dormancy almost. And then when that nervous system just can't do its job, we struggle with everything. And we're seeing that really, really commonly. So long story short, yes, we do treat and we see tons of people that struggle with dysautonomia, and a lot of times they don't even know that that's what they're dealing with.
Yeah. So what would be some of the therapies you administer, or what would you do for that?
So in our office, we strictly practice chiropractic. So we do no other modalities.
Okay, yeah.
Now, with that being said, one of the best things that we've done to build our practice is to develop relationships with other providers that I know and trust can provide other therapies and do it really, really well.
Yeah,
So,
that's one of the reasons I work with chiropractic.
Yeah.
You know.
So my big perspective on, in the office, I don't want to muddy the waters. So when we have a patient coming in because they're not sleeping, I don't want to have all of these other therapies going on in their treatment plan with me. So then they're questioning like, okay, was it the electrical muscle stimulation, or was it the adjustment that genuinely like got me sleeping better? So we strictly practice chiropractic in the office. I'm a huge advocate of, there's so many different pieces of the health puzzle, but in my experience, especially with kids, I think that having a regulated, well-functioning nervous system is a really foundational piece. It's not the only piece, but a lot of times I'll see people hit a ceiling with other therapies if they're not also doing chiropractic. So frequently, an example of that would be like a kid doing speech therapy. They'll see improvements, but not quite be able to get over that hump. And then they add chiropractic into that, and their nervous system starts communicating well.
What about? Sorry.
You're good.
What about dyslexia?
So, same concept is it's a miscommunication between the brain and a lot of times oculomotor or fine motor skills, whether it's reading or writing. I tell people a lot, because I'll have patients ask me that kind of question, like I've struggled with irritable bowel syndrome or blood pressure problems or asthma or whatever, like can you help with that? And the easy answer is yes. And over again, I just see with patients like they start to function better, and these other symptoms just start to kind of fall off the
So this
mat.
one might be tough.
Lay it on me, what you got?
Can you help stroke victims? Because like, especially those that there's
like massive neurological deficits. So yes, and I've had some colleagues. I've personally taken care of one significant stroke victim in my career, and does it completely restore the damage that's done to the brain? No, but it does impact the quality of life. So things like if we have a restricted arm, because that's a lot of times what happens is it's one side of the body, it's motor, it's sensory, it's speech, and will they completely restore that and be able to throw a baseball with that arm? Maybe not, but they'll be able to button their own shirt or
thank you, sir.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
love you.
Or drink or eat on their own. So it's those quality of life things. Like, no, I cannot necessarily heal a massive hemorrhage in the brain.
You can't go pre-stroke, but you can get them to a point in most cases where they can live a lot better quality of life than post-stroke.
And that there's a really, really big topic called neuroplasticity. I'm not sure if y'all have heard that, I'm sure.
Yes.
But the whole concept is that the brain has the ability to change, and there's a lot of research coming out. And I will say something that you had mentioned earlier, like if we had as much money as Big Pharma did to pour into things like herbals,
We had the Rockefellers backing us,
They would have gone one way.
Things would look a lot different, of course. But we're seeing some research come out that's showing that a chiropractor, every single time an adjustment is made to the spine, it changes the neurological pathways and the hardwiring of the brain. And so that's our whole premise, is like, if we can do this consistently with somebody and not just backtrack on the bad wiring that's already in there,
Yeah.
Like create new and improved wiring.
One of the things that I practiced for myself, which helped me tremendously after Iraq and stuff, and not having anger issues and all that kind of stuff, or
Mental
PTSD.
emotional management.
Yeah. Well, I practiced NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming.
Yeah.
And I went like hardcore into it. Like I've got, I don't know, 100 gigabytes of data on videos and recordings and different meditations and stuff that different NLP, the creator of NLP, the guy that was a hypnotist, I can't remember his name, but that helped tremendously to rewire the way that I thought about things. But just having the ability to have a clear mind and organized thoughts is phenomenal.
Life changing.
It
You
is.
could say, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that attributes to that is less pain in the body. Which is like, pain is so distracting, and most people don't realize how distracting it is to having a normal thought process during the day. When you're going through pain, it's difficult to be like, yeah, everything's great, I feel good, this is, and think about future or anything. Like, all you're thinking about is that pain. Or at least that's all you will like revert back to, So that's one thing I love about chiropractic is like a lot of that pain is mitigated and released from the body, and you're just like, you feel fantastic.
And it really goes back to the neurological pathways. There's a process in the body called nociception, which is when your body is sending a pain signal to the brain, and that gets impacted when you change the signaling that's going from the body to the brain.
Yeah.
The brain is just a massive sensory organ, so if we can put good input into it, then it's going to send better input back out.
Yeah, I notice, especially with what I do during the day and where I'm at, which my generation is different than the other generations. Okay.
Yeah.
So during the day, I will have lots of pain, but only certain pain will stop me. Like, it has to be extreme. It has to be something sharp. It has to be something quick, or it has to be my meniscus saying, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna take a vacation." And then I'm out. And I've noticed that my pain is more frequent with everything that I do. I know that age has something to do with it, but mostly it's, I'll be honest, I don't stretch in the morning. Flexibility is right. Flexibility allows.
So disappointed.
I know. Flexibility allows fluids to get in all the joints that they can get in. Also, I was pretty athletic when I was younger.
Yeah, back in the heyday.
I can still touch a soccer ball like Pele, okay? I can still do the rainbow. That's my boys.
Next Mead talk, we gotta see it.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that.
I can't do it because my meniscus will probably tear, but
Oh, mine has a couple times while
Yeah.
doing it, but it's okay. I just walk it off. But hey, stop laughing. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. I heard that from Hugh. But but what I'm getting at is, I know, like you were talking about earlier, with the stress of life and this and that. I know that has impacted my body. And I know that it can be fixed. It just comes down to, when am I going to get that point where I have no choice? And I think a lot of people live their life that way. Like, instead of saying, "Hey, ooh, that's not right,"
let me be proactive about
right,
it.
they'll keep going, and then that it may hit again, and be like, okay, I'm gonna listen to my body.
Do you know why they wait though? I think it's mostly financial. Like, I think that is one of the biggest issues. Health insurance doesn't cover most of these things that actually help
I was
you.
hoping we'd
Right.
talk about health insurance.
It makes me so mad,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
It's such a scam to me, because I've seen with the other side of things. I've got some stories, like some
Y'all have a
serious
good night.
different. Y'all have a good night. But yeah, some seriously ridiculous stories, and I think I've probably told one or two on this.
Yep.
On Mead Talk before. But hey, y'all.
You sure?
Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
Y'all be careful.
I know I'll see y'all the 19th. So.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so yeah, insurance sucks.
It does.
I think most insurance is a scam.
Yeah.
And I think that it's built a society of lawsuits and the blame game and everybody wanting to get money out of everybody else and just all sorts of issues.
Insurance is very much a for-profit business.
Oh yeah.
And I used to, and Rob has actually sat through our new patient orientation in the office. I used to talk about insurance. The previous office that I was in, we accepted insurance. We don't at our office now for a lot of reasons. But I used to talk pretty heavily about insurance in the orientation to really give people the understanding of like, as a neurologically focused doctor, I refuse to allow the insurance company to tell me how much care a patient A needs but B can get.
Yeah.
When they're not qualified to look at neurological scans and x-rays and decide, okay, how many chiropractic adjustments can this person receive to get their nervous system back on track. And the reality is too, like, they're doing everything in their power to not have to pay for something, rather than to pay for something.
Right.
But it's just this tricky situation where people feel like if they're paying for this service, they should be able to use it. And kind of like you're saying, I think cost in a lot of cases is a big reason why people don't take better care of themselves.
Yeah. So
it's a big obstacle.
But it's crazy to me that, if you do the things that you're supposed, if you have forethought about things, right? So if you go to chiropractic, if you go to massage, if you go to an actual natural healer that might do even like a customized plan for you that and they all kind of, work together and you have this strategy of health throughout your life, you'll stay out of the doctor way more. So health insurance almost becomes null and void. But they won't tell you that. So if you take care of yourself, you have a better quality of life, and it normally costs less, right? So I know health insurance for my whole family is like a freaking mortgage, right? It's ridiculous. But so, if you were to just not have to pay health insurance and actually use that money for your health, you would actually live a better life, happier life, and it would probably cost less.
Yeah, better financially too. No doubt about it. That's a big thing. Like, insurance companies require, as a provider, they require you to be in contract with them. So you have to charge how much they tell you to charge. And a big reason that we wanted to open a practice was because I know what we do helps people, and I know that I can help somebody if I can get them on my table. And if that means that we have to figure out how to get them in the office if they can't afford it, we have to figure that out somehow, and you can't do that when you're accepting insurance.
So one of the things that irks me is you can't just walk into a doctor's office to get like a checkup or anything if you don't have insurance, right? And so with my children, right, we don't believe in vaccinations, right? So my youngest, he's never had a shot ever, right? Healthiest one of them all, right?
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the wildest thing is when you need any type of care or anything for anything, they won't take you. Yeah, and it's what? Sports. You gotta have what is it called? A physical and stuff like that. No doctor will take you because you don't like vaccines. It's wild.
It is.
So wild.
I had a new, what I would call crunchy family start care with us recently. And the mom was new to Alabama, and she was coming from Virginia, DC area. We were just basically communicating that it seems like kids are required almost to have well checks, or you can get in trouble with the EHR in Alabama in particular, in comparison to her experience in the DC, Virginia area. And
We don't get in trouble.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's just wild to think, like, if a kid is well, why do they need a well check?
Yeah.
Why?
If they're doing good.
Why would the government have to check on me?
Yeah.
I have a mom, I have a dad.
Yeah.
I've lived that life. I give the government taxes. They need to do what I tell them to do. That's how it works. They don't need to check on
Well,
my kid.
my sister said, yes, you can, but you have to pay out of pocket. And no, that's not true. I've tried to pay out of pocket. I've said, let me just give you cash. And they're like, no, you have to have insurance. Same with dental. Same, like a bunch of different, I'm like, dude, I can just pay it.
Yeah,
They're like, no,
self-pay.
we need, I'm like, what's the issue here? I'll give you a check up front. I don't care. Like, just
Treat me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've often thought, so speaking of like dental and eye vision, so those insurances, when you have medical insurance, is fairly cheap. I mean, they are doctors of optometry or whatnot.
Yeah.
Why not have the option on your health insurance for a chiropractor? I mean, I don't need prescriptions when I go to a chiropractor, so why would I need to pay a lot of money on health insurance? And I'll be honest, I pay for health insurance for them online. And we never use it. Why do I have it? In case there's a situation where there is a car accident or something like that and we need surgery, that's the only reason I have it. Other than that, I don't go to a doctor.
Right.
The last thing you'll see on my medical record from a doctor is back in like 2000, what are we at?
That kidney stone.
The kidney stone, where I got an ultrasonic treatment where they said it's going to feel like Mike Tyson punched you in the kidney 1,000 times. That's the last thing you'll see on my medical record. And I was 29. I am now 41, almost 42.
32.
I am actually. I was trying to be modest, but I appreciate it. Yeah.
No,
I don't want
Sarah.
people to really know how young I am.
No, Sarah, I do not get fined at the end of the year when I do my taxes.
It's a good question.
Our sister
We're not
works
doing
in medical.
That was, they ask you, but they don't fine you anymore for it, as far as I'm.
Trump took care of that.
The whole concept too, like why in a lot of, well, Medicaid, for example, doesn't have chiropractic coverage at all.
Yeah.
TRICARE for our vets doesn't have chiropractic coverage, so the whole, and y'all know this, but they're just not actually looking out for the health
That's
of
a good
people
question,
Right.
Sarah.
at all.
Right.
So that's what
They're
it boils
looking
down
for
to.
profit.
Yeah. For really
That's it.
Sarah said, then why do I have health insurance? And I said, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd rather pay, I'd
Again,
rather-
like I said,
Major
Sarah,
accidents.
for a major incident where you may need surgery, that's why.
Because doctors charge entirely too much for their services.
Yeah.
And when you actually need to be put back together because of an accident or an emergency, it costs you your entire life to pay it back. That's
It'll
why.
be $5,000
Yeah.
for me to get an ambulance from my house to Shelby, and I live like 3.4 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, the average cost of a heart attack in the United States is like $340,000. It's outrageous.
And what do? Make you wait, give you some drugs, and then walk in there after a couple tests and say, well, you had a heart attack. No, really? Appreciate you. Kind of figured that out. Yeah. Yeah, that's, okay, I could get on a rant with that. Like how you walk in and say, hey, I think I've got this going on.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a doctor, let me figure it out. And then they walk in there, well, this is what's going on. Oh, really? It's like I just said that. Now I'm going to pay you how much for you to tell me what's wrong? That's what, oh, for the love. Like, and you know, I got a sinus issue, which nowadays, let's be honest, you walk into a doctor and you have a sinus issue and you cough, you got COVID. What? No, I don't. Yes, you do.
COVID, strep, flu B,
Right?
combo.
Yep. You got COVID, or you got the flu. Wait, but COVID is a flu. But wait, no, it's COVID, but it is a flu. It's the same. It's just a different. Wish I could get on something completely different than that, but I'm just going with mainstream right now. And it's just like, why? Why am I going to waste my time? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take vitamin C, elderberry, and I'm going to flush all the toxins out of my body. And in 3 days, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I don't know about y'all, but that's what I do.
Well, I've got a YouTube video out there that where I got bit by a brown recluse, and I showed how to treat it. myself because I went to the hospital for it so I could get off work because I couldn't use my hand.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, come back when it gets worse. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm just gonna treat it myself.
Seems like a bad strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And so it like went all the way up my arm and stuff because it also got infected and everything. It was wild. But I was able to treat it myself. I waited too long to start treating it, but in 21 days, it literally dried up. Like everything had dried up and just fallen off and healed. It's pretty wild.
It's like the body was made to self-regulate and self-heal.
Right. It's like we're provided with all the right things in nature to do all that.
Yeah. Set it up for success and it can do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I did a combination of topical and internal stuff. So I made my own topical stuff with moringa powder, which is meant to purify things, right? MSM powder, which is meant to methylate toxins in the body. So it's really, really awesome.
To detoxify.
Yeah. So it's really awesome. Like, and I'm gonna throw this out there. I may go to jail over this, but I've said some things that.
Wait. We have to do what we've done before. We have to go ahead and say, I do not consent to the FBI showing up. I do not think that I need to be.
I invoke all my rights.
Yes, I invoke all my rights. I enjoy my life. I'm willing to live. So go ahead.
A disclaimer.
Yeah.
This is for informational purposes only. We do not intend to treat or cure anybody in this room or out there live. Yeah. So, but MSM is really awesome to use for any type of venomous issue like snakes. I've seen where somebody took a pound of it a day, like just gobbled it down, right? But we're perfectly fine after getting bit by a pit viper. So all sorts of different stories out there for all that. So I use that DMSO, which is dimethyl sulfoxide, which is like a supercharged methylating group and oxidizer. But and then what else did I use? I don't know. I took a bunch of stuff, bunch of immune system stuff, all that good stuff. Reishi mushroom, chaga mushroom, all that good stuff. But 21 days completely gone. Yeah.
I think that's a huge piece too, though. Like our society is so instant gratification that we're not willing to heal, like genuinely heal, because we just want that quick fix. That's a big piece of why we've gotten to where we're at.
I heard somebody say, we're so used to like take two and call me, in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, take 2,000 and call me next month.
Yeah.
See where you're at.
And even just like with, there's research out there for like pharmaceuticals basically that just says you have to give your body about 90 days before it makes a change on a cellular level.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that are on blood pressure meds or SSRIs and things like that, and we expect to be better tomorrow, that's just not how the body works, even if it's with a pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
So when it comes to healing the body naturally, you just have to be patient and give your body time.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So just a request from my mother-in-law.
Anything.
She's just curious. So like she had a stroke, a year and a half ago? She was wondering, like with the elasticity of her arm, like we had talked previously, and you mentioned, how they had the arm that kind of wanted to just sit here, and then they were able to button, or they could be able to button. Won't be able to throw a baseball. She's just curious in this situation, since you're neurological.
There is something on my face.
I did see a bug. I'll give it
Okay, good. I'm thinking
You look
Spider
cross-eyed
just fell
and
from the
crazy
ceiling.
person.
I'm thinking I'm on drugs. I'm a golden god.
Tripping out, man.
Yeah, no.
She did some neurological stuff to his man.
Yeah, I know, man. Like, we're a dude, man. Like, I'm in a different universe, man. Like, I'm in the 4D, bruh. No. So, would you be able, in a situation like that, to progress the digression, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Progress,
Nerves
digress.
and neurological pathways are probably one of the slowest tissues in the body to heal, but they have the capacity to do it.
Right.
The only genuine way to like give your nervous system that good foundation is with things like chiropractic functional neurology, where you're actually changing the hardwiring. So,
Because
yes.
I mean, a stroke, it does that. It like completely reroutes your neurological paths.
Yeah.
That's
It
why
impacts
there's a
the gray
struggle
and the
with
white
one
matter,
side,
yeah.
right? There's a struggle with the right or the left.
Yeah.
Which oddly enough, honestly, I didn't think till recently that you could have a stroke and have the right side affected. I thought it was always the left side.
It depends on where the
Yeah.
stroke is located in the brain,
Right.
but
And then,
most neurological pathways in the body desiccate. That just means that they cross over.
They
at some
cross
point.
over.
Yeah.
But receiving, they're the same side, right?
Yes.
So the left side controls the right, and the right side
But
controls the left.
but when you touch the left hand, it goes to the left side of the brain.
Yeah, so sensory and motor are
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
different
totally
pathways.
different.
Yeah.
My sister said, "Can you describe the process of what you would do for a patient?"
She needs to stop texting.
I know.
She's doing great. She's asking good questions. So in our office, we're really heavy on the evaluation side. So we take paperwork really seriously, which can be a turnoff for some when you come to a doctor and they're asking you super detailed questions. Especially a lot of times people will be like, "Why does my chiropractor need to know what X, Y, and Z is like?"
It's
The
actually
reality is,
really, really informative.
Yeah.
Like it's really good information.
yeah. So
And albeit the explanation from them really helps.
Yeah. we're super educationally heavy, but we take paperwork and health history really seriously because the story of how a person got to where they're at is a big piece of
yeah.
why they're experiencing what they're experiencing. So we take that part very seriously. So consult health history. We do our neurological scans, which is a set of 3 different technologies that we use. So we use what's called HRV, or heart rate variability, and that it has become really, really popular in the health and fitness world as of late. But it tells us a lot about the overall health of the nervous system, how well or how poorly the nervous system can adapt to daily stresses, what its reserve or its capacity to be able to exist is. We do an SEMG scan, or a surface electromyography. So that tells us essentially, because you've got dysfunction in the nervous system, how well is your neuromuscular system, or the muscular part of the body, being fed by that nervous system. So are you over-energized? Are you under-energized? How well is the body and the brain organizing the energy that it has available to use? And then we do our thermal scan, which is measuring skin temperature differences. The really big key with the thermal scan is the same nerves that control and coordinate skin temperature, control and coordinate organ, gland, and organ system function. So with a thermal scan, we can see how deeply that overall function and body is being impacted by strain on the nervous system. So somebody that comes in with a symptom like acid reflux, most likely their upper thoracic, so like T1 to T4 area, is going to be deeply impacted by neurological stress. And so it's literally, they tell us their story and we can see the symptoms that they're struggling with by looking at their scan, which is really cool. And then we take x-rays on our adults as well, our non-pregnant adults. And that really helps see. Function has a huge impact on structure. So if neurological function has been impacted for a long period of time, we're going to see things in the body like spinal degeneration. We're going to see things like, decreased disc space. We're going to see scoliosis and things of that nature. So if somebody's got really, really trashy scans, they're going to have most likely a pretty rough looking spine as well. And so that helps me figure out a game plan for how much we need to take care of that person. And then we get them in there for their first adjustment. And adjustments in our office are really smooth and efficient. One thing that we get feedback on, like if somebody has had a lot of chiropractic experience in their past, they typically come in with the expectation that I need to pop every joint in their body.
Yeah.
And that's just not what the body needs.
Right.
So the neurological scans help us really see, like, I just want to adjust what your body needs, nothing more, nothing less. And that's how we make an impact on that function, is it's over time and with repetition, we're peeling off those layers and that stress and that trauma that's stuck in there. And so it's not an overnight fix, nothing is.
Well, the muscles also have to acclimate, right?
Yeah.
So I've noticed that hugely, and that's why I like to do massage as well, because around a chiropractic visit, because it's like a 1-2 hit, like those muscles loosen up, all the fluid, your lymphatic system flows, like everything's moving so much better. But then when everything tightens back up and stuff, it seems to work better.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree with that 1,000,000%. We would be naive to think that we could just take care of the neurospinal system and not treat the muscular system. All of the muscles and tendons and ligaments are attached directly to that spinal column, so they have a big impact on position, on information that's going to the brain, proprioception, all that stuff.
Now I have, since, JJ, just in the time he's been there, is like one thing, actually Cynthia and I discussed it today, because she hadn't noticed, but I did, because he's mostly been with me, but one thing that never happened prior was he would take a nap. He would get tired during the day.
Yeah.
He was go.
Balls to the wall, for lack of better terms.
Yes. I mean, we're talking 2 a.m. He's like, party! Just good. The last couple of days, after, like for example, yesterday after his soccer game, maybe lacrosse game, one of the games, one of 3 games we had yesterday. He gets in the truck, he's in the front seat, and he's sitting there, he's just sort of, gazing and look over
A little bit more mellow.
yeah, it's like, you tired, buddy? He's like, yeah.
Actually, yeah.
By the time we got home, he was out. See you, brother. See you, Mikey. Mike. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This
Out of character for this kid.
This is odd.
Yeah.
This isn't right. Okay, cool. I'm on. Hey, stay up late. Okay, cool. Today, on the way home after the practice. Actually, no, it was on the way home after church. In the back seat, you look back there, and he is saying, "Get off of me!" And JJ's passed out. It's like, Preston, he's asleep, dude. He doesn't know what he's doing.
he's actually getting rest now.
Yes, he is actually, like, his body is at a point where it's like, I need rest. I'm gonna rest.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Because for as long as I've known this child, because he is technically my stepson, I've been in their life for 5 years now, never wanted to rest. You had to force him to go to sleep. And now he is like, yeah, I'm tired. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yes. Love testimonials on that.
Testimony,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
The easiest way to describe how and why that happens, the nervous system has 2 separate divisions. We have
I was hoping you would talk about this.
we have the sympathetic division, which is what we call the fight or flight side,
Yeah.
and we have the parasympathetic division, which is what we call the rest or digest side. And to make it even simpler, we just call that fight or flight side the gas pedal, and we call the rest and digest side the brake pedal. And we start being stressed out as human beings when we're developing in utero. The umbilical cord that goes from mom to baby is like a power cord, and every single stress, every single emotion, everything that mom experiences, it goes straight to baby. So from development, in the fetal development, kids are being hardwired to be stuck in that fight or flight, that gas pedal side of their nervous system. And what we're doing with a chiropractic adjustment, like if we boil it down, make it really, really simple,
Starting to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're just literally taking that gas pedal and kind of muffling it
Yeah.
and giving that brake pedal the chance to do what it's supposed to do, which is allow the body to experience ease and calm.
Well, one of the things that happens when you're actually at rest is growth, healing, cell replication,
Yeah.
those sort of things
Definitely.
that are extremely important in the cycle of a human being from use of energy to rest with the energy, right? So that cycle just throughout a day is extremely important, let alone a developmental child, like as they grow up. So there's all sorts of cycles within a human being from fetal to, adult, which are extremely important, whether you're resting or working.
I'm glad that you mentioned that too. And honestly, even just like cell reproduction, millions of cells in our body die and are recreated moment by moment. And our bodies have that intelligence, but for whatever reason, we don't believe in our body's ability to be able to self-regulate and self-heal. And that's where like all of these medical interventions,
Our
pharmaceuticals,
bodies are
surgeries,
extremely resilient.
yeah, it's mind-boggling.
I got into telomeres for a long time.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool science. But we actually have the ability to activate enzyme telomerase and put telomeres back onto the ends of chromosomes. So you can,
Super nerdy stuff.
yeah, you can biologically reverse your age by 10 to 15 years.
It's crazy.
Like literally.
Just
yourself.
don't get into the mRNA stuff. That stuff's
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to change the fact that you're a human being.
yeah.
But it's just,
And you don't want to be a trademark or registered trademark or
Yeah.
copyright or anything like that.
it's just wild what our bodies are capable of, and yet we still, doctors, people, because we're brainwashed to believe that we can't heal.
Well, we're extremely resilient, right? Bodies are created to be extremely resilient. We consistently try to kill ourselves every single day, and still we're here. So it's pretty awesome that we're still here.
Our
'Cause
bodies adapt in a maladaptive state. So when we constantly are making bad decisions for our bodies, like we're breathing poor air quality, we're drinking water that's not well purified, we're eating toxic food,
Yep.
and we wonder why we have high blood pressure, obesity, cholesterol, diabetes, all the things. But our bodies consistently fight those bad things to exist and survive. Just imagine what our bodies could do if we actually gave them an appropriate environment to thrive.
I've tried explaining this to people, like, you try to say, hey, grow your own vegetables, don't use this or that.
Yeah.
Make sure it's as natural as can be. Oh no, I'll go to McDonald's and it's like, okay, it's they're like, oh, it's good for you. No. Look where we've gotten in 4,000 plus years. Did they have McDonald's back then? No. Did they have pharmaceuticals back then? No.
Looking at a timeline too, like processed foods have existed for less than 100 years, and it's crazy. Now we have the highest, autism rates and the highest rates of diabetes and heart disease and cancers. And we just can't put it together.
Right.
So my wife said, that's it. All the kids are fixing to start seeing your chiropractor. Because
They have
I
6
stayed.
kids by the now.
Yeah, she said I stayed in fight or flight mode when I was pregnant with all of the babies.
It's incredible, and taking care of pregnant moms is a huge passion of mine, and a big piece of it is for the kid. Obviously, like I want mom to be comfortable during pregnancy, but I know that if I can help that pregnant mom's nervous system be more calm and regulated, that it's going to give that child a better entry into this world and be set up better for success, rather than a mom experiencing stress and trauma and
High cortisol levels, low mineral absorption,
1,000,000%.
all that stuff.
Struggling with hypothyroidism,
Oh yeah,
iron issues, and all these things.
hormone issues,
So I love taking care of pregnant moms because I want mom to feel good, but my real motivation is because I know that baby is going to have a better start to life
Yeah.
if we can take care of her.
For sure. We always got to look out for the future.
Yeah.
But I do have a question.
What you got?
So I've worked with a lot of chiropractors.
Yeah.
Are you the type that like really just is good with your hands and everything, or do you like whip out all the crazy tools like some of these other chiropractors?
Honestly, that's a great question. In the office, I use a hodgepodge of techniques.
Yeah.
And a piece of that is the neurological scans that I've mentioned. So I look at the scans to figure out not just the best areas of the nervous system